Phobia. A phobia is an irrational fear of an object, situation, or living thing. Fear is a natural response to danger, but a phobia occurs in response to something that often does not cause actual harm. A person suffering from phobia is usually involved with some kind of anxiety disorder that occurs when facing the phobia factor and causes the person to experience intense fear and anxiety. Blood, animals, bathing, and mirrors are some of the things that many people have phobias about. When a person faces the source of his phobia, he becomes distressed and anxious and quickly wants to avoid it. All these definitions were about normal and common phobias, but some people have strange types of phobias that none of us may have even heard of. Archibutyrophobia is a strange phobia in which the sufferer is afraid of peanut butter sticking to the roof of his mouth. This always happens when eating peanut butter, but the person with this phobia is extremely afraid of it. The intensity of this phobia is different in different people. One person may be able to eat a small amount of peanut butter, but another person will not only not think about eating peanut butter, but will refuse to eat anything that looks and feels like it. Archibutyrophobia is a rare phobia that stems from the fear of choking on sticky objects. People who have the experience of being allergic to peanut butter or feeling suffocated with it are more involved with this phobia. 2. Nomophobia, fear of being without a mobile phone. People suffering from nomophobia suffer from stress and anxiety if they do not have access to their mobile phone, the battery charge is low, or their mobile phone is damaged. This strange phobia is caused by cell phone addiction, and people with it may obsessively check their phones many times a day to make sure they haven't missed any calls or messages. It is true that nomophobia is known as a strange and rare phobia, but cell phone addiction is very common. Recent research has shown that half of men and women suffer from anxiety about their cell phones. Also, in the statistical population selected for this study, 23% of male students are known to be nomophobic, and almost 77% of them check their mobile phones more than 35 times a day. 3. Arithmophobia, fear of numbers. Arithmophobia is a deep and real fear of numbers and should not be confused with the fear of math lessons at school. People with this phobia are extremely afraid of seeing the symbol of numbers and performing mathematical operations. Fear of numbers can easily disrupt a person's life because it prevents them from doing many things and jobs. Ablotophobia, fear of bathing. Ablotophobia is the fear of bathing, washing, or cleaning oneself. This phobia usually occurs in children and disappears with age, but cases have also been seen in adults. People with this strange phobia avoid bathing and showering, and this issue goes to the point where they are isolated and do not attend the community because of their unpleasant body odor. This fear is so intense that they prefer to endure the agonizing loneliness over the fear of bathing. This phobia may be caused by an event or injury in the past that was associated with getting wet. In some cases, this fear is rooted in hydrophobia. Globophobia, fear of balloons. The amount of fear experienced as a result of globophobia varies from person to person. A person may avoid being near balloons, and another person may experience severe anxiety when seeing the image of a balloon on TV. This fear is more difficult for children than for adults because there are always a lot of balloons at children's birthday parties. Globophobia is usually caused by a traumatic experience in childhood, such as hearing a balloon burst and making a scary sound. This fear is related to colorophobia, fear of clowns, because both are usually seen together. Ketophobia, fear of hair. People with this strange phobia are afraid of their own hair, other people's hair, and even animal hair. They get very scared when they see hairballs on the ground or combing their own hair. Cutting or tying hair is very annoying for these people. This phobia can be related to the belief that hair is dirty or caused by the sudden loss of hair and beard in a person. Trichophobia, fear of hair loss and hair falling on the sofa and clothes, and trichopathophobia, fear of changing the state of hair such as changing color or baldness, are some of the fears associated with this strange fear. Vestophobia, fear of clothes. Usually this fear appears in affected people towards a certain dress. For example, a person may experience fear and anxiety by seeing or wearing tight clothing or a special uniform, such as a military uniform. This phobia is caused by sensitivity to a certain type of fabric or an unfortunate event in the past. For example, this strange phobia is observed in some military veterans. Disidiophobia, fear of making decisions. Decision-making is impossible for people suffering from this fear. These people do not trust their own decisions and rely too much on others for this. They may even refer to an astrologer to make decisions about various life issues. This strange phobia can be a subset of a larger mental health disorder called dependent personality disorder. Isotrophobia, fear of mirrors. This phobia is sometimes known as spectrophobia and catopterophobia. A person with this phobia cannot look at himself in a mirror and avoids looking at any reflective surface. This fear can be rooted in superstitions. These superstitions consider breaking a mirror as a sign of bad luck and believe that by looking in the mirror, they may see a supernatural being, such as a ghost. Low self-confidence causes this strange fear, and sometimes it becomes so intense that it makes a person depressed. Mirror phobia may be related to reflections. In addition to mirrors, you may be afraid of any reflective material, such as a very shiny car or certain types of sunglasses. Reflections inherently distort reflected objects, making them appear slightly unrealistic. Some people are especially afraid of reflected writing because it looks weird. Mirrors have long been associated with religious rituals and superstitions. An old belief states that a mirror reflects one's soul. According to the same belief, the soul is resurrected once every 7 years. Consequently, breaking the mirror breaks a piece of the soul and causes 7 years of bad luck. Children or adults who struggle with such a mental disorder will have intense experiences of irrational reactions, panic, or running away from the clown. Such people with this type of fear are called chlorophobic. Their simplest solution is to avoid seeing pictures or such people, clowns. Sometimes they try to escape from this frightening factor or change their ways. The discovery of such a mental disorder happened recently and first announced its presence in 1990. This word is derived from the Greek root of fear, koulro. In recent years, movies such as Joker and Anne have made people more aware of this mental disorder or phobia. Phasmophobia, fear of ghosts. Ghost phobia or fear of ghosts is one of the strangest phobias in the world, which in many human cultures is based on the belief that some ghosts may be malicious towards people and be dangerous for them. There may be a range of attitudes towards this, including a mischievous attitude, a kind attitude, an indifferent attitude, etc. The fear of ghosts, sometimes referred to as phasmophobia, is also incorrectly called spectrophobia or spectrophobia. While the latter word is an established accepted word for the fear of mirrors or the fear of the reflection of an image, it is a person. Lachanophobia, fear of vegetables. Some people do not have this phobia, but they are very afraid of vegetables. Those who are truly afraid of vegetables are afraid of shopping and eating out. They experience shortness of breath and nausea if they come in contact with vegetables. People who suffer from this phobia cannot have a healthy diet because they mostly use foods containing sugar and starch. Although pasta and cake are more delicious than vegetables, not using vegetables leads to vitamin and protein deficiency. As a result, the risk of this phobia is higher than the strangest phobias in the world. Podophobia, fear of alcohol. Podophobia, also known as mediphobia, is the fear of alcohol and alcoholic beverages. A person suffering from podophobia is not only afraid of drinking alcohol, but also afraid of seeing someone who is drinking alcohol or even thinking about it. Long-term alcoholics are particularly vulnerable to anxiety disorders such as post-traumatic stress disorder. Heavy alcohol use can also lead to other mental health disorders such as antisocial personality disorder and bulimia nervosa. People who rely on alcohol to cope with anxiety can develop alcoholism. People with alcoholism who suddenly stop drinking can experience withdrawal symptoms such as sweating, nausea, and seizures. These effects can exacerbate their anxiety. Fear of time chronophobia is an anxiety disorder in which a person is afraid of time. This phobia includes an irrational fear of passing time and being limited in time. Time is an important element in human life. The passage of time makes us grow old and think about our mortality. Some people worry that they will not use their time properly and waste their time due to the limited time in their lives. In people with chronophobia, this worry is so intense that even hearing the ticking sound of the clock makes them feel bad. Chronophobia is more prevalent in elderly people, prisoners, and terminally ill patients. Also, those who have experienced severe trauma are susceptible to this particular phobia. Prevention of chronophobia is difficult because it usually arises due to situations that are uncontrollable. Dipnophobia, Fear of eating with others. This fear is usually known as party fear. A person with this strange phobia is afraid of talking to others while eating. Most of the people who suffer from this fear were ridiculed as children because of the way they eat or do not observe table manners. Fear of being criticized is another reason for creating this phobia. Also, these people feel uncomfortable eating in front of others and prefer to eat alone. A phobia is a deep and intense fear that usually occurs in relation to innocuous situations, devices, and conditions. A person with phobia faces severe anxiety disorders and his life may change. Some phobias, such as the fear of stairs and holes, are common, but some phobias are so strange that they are rarely talked about. People with phobias may start using drugs or alcohol to control their anxiety. It should not be forgotten that even the worst and strangest phobias can be treated with the help of a therapist, and it is easy to return to normal life. So, if you see the signs of phobia, be sure to see an experienced psychologist or therapist. Fear and anxiety are related to each other, but fear is related to a known and certain danger for the person, while anxiety is about a vague and unknown situation and is caused by the thoughts of the person's mind about a possible and unknown danger. According to the research done, fear causes anxiety, and anxiety also causes fear in people. What are the effective factors in panic disorder or phobia? Some psychological studies show that panic is a defense mechanism for dangerous and unacceptable impulses. And some other research shows that this disorder is due to learned fears in the past through observational or conditioned learning. Has experiencing unfortunate events, such as an accident, being at a high altitude, being bitten by animals, and harming a person may have an effect on its occurrence. In addition to that, genetic and physiological factors also have an effect on the occurrence of phobia.